it's going. Stop my music. Okay, let's see. Oh, I'm nervous. I haven't done one of these in quite some time. Alrighty. Where do I go? I just want to double check it's actually going. I forget how to do that. Whew. So right now it's private. Start back. Can I just get out of here? Okay, stream. Are we going? Yes, we are. Okay. It's private right now. Let's share and take a look and see what's going on. All right. We're doing this. We should cut this part out. I don't know if we can. Okay. I need to get the chat. Oh, that's my PC. I need to get the chat going on my MacBook here. Okay, turn down the volume because I don't think we need the volume. Let's share and take a look. All right. See what's going on. All right. We're doing this. We should cut this part out. I don't know if we can. All right. I'm presuming that I can change the. I'm assuming. I need to get the chat. Oh, that's my better grammar. I need to get the chat. I'm assuming that I can change the details of it so it's public. Okay, there we go. We're live. Should be live at least. I hope we're live. Let's go back and see. That's my better grammar. I need the chat. I'm assuming. All right, I think we're live. Just need to get the chat up on my details on my MacBook over here so I can see everyone's wonderful questions. Public. Okay, there we go. I've turned off my should be live at least the sound so that I can't hear myself because that always trips me up hearing my own voice. Grammar. I need the chat. Anyway, all right. I think we're live. Just need to get the chat up on my YouTube. See me. Okay. So I'm gonna center myself details on my MacBook over here so I can see everyone's wonderful questions. All right. Public. Let me inform the Discord squad. Okay. We are live. This is working. Should be live at least. The sound so that I can't hear myself because that always trips me up hearing my own voice. Grammar. I need the chat. Anyway, all right. I think we're live. Hello. Just need to get the chat up on my YouTube. See me. Okay. So I'm gonna center myself details on my MacBook over here so I can see everyone's wonderful questions. Public. Let me inform the Discord squad. Okay. We are live. This is working. Should be live at least. The sound so that I can't hear myself because that always trips me up hearing my own voice. Grammar. I need the chat. Anyway, all right. I think we're live. Hello. Just need to get the chat up on my YouTube. See me. Okay. So I'm gonna center myself details on my MacBook over here so I can see everyone's wonderful questions. Public. Let me inform the Discord squad. Okay. We are live. This is working. Should be live at least. The sound so that I can't hear myself because that always trips me up hearing my own voice. Grammar. I need the chat. Anyway, all right. I think we're live. Hello. Just need to get the chat up on my YouTube. No, it's not see me. Okay, good. So I'm gonna center myself details on my MacBook over here so I can see everyone's wonderful questions. Public. Let me inform the Discord squad. Okay. We are live. This is working. Should be live. Oh yeah, I got the sound so that I can't hear myself because that always trips me up hearing my own voice. Grammar. I need the chat. Anyway, all right. I think we're live. Hello. Just let me chat up on my YouTube. No, it's not see me. Okay, good. On my MacBook over here so I can see everyone's wonderful questions. Okay. Let me inform the Discord squad. Yes, the legend is here. We are live. Hi hit. Shouldn't be live. Oh yeah, I got the sound so that I can't hear myself because that always trips me up hearing my own voice. Shouldn't be. Anyway, all right. I'm just gonna leave that. No, it's not see me. Okay, good. computer, I have a Discord server
on my Mac
and the YouTube chat on Windows. Okay, here informed Discord. So I'm going to be answering questions. We are live. Hi hit. Live stream the sound so that I can't hear myself. And from that always trips me up. This version, so someone asked me. Anyway, all right. I'm just going to do that to be. No, at least hopefully sometime this weekend. Computer, I have a Discord server. I'm just getting this very YouTube chat is done. Okay. Here informed. Honestly, you can use Discord. So I'm going to be answering questions. We are live. Hi hit. Live stream the sound so that I can't hear myself. And from that always trips me up. This version, so someone asked me. Anyway, all right. I'm just going to do that to be. No, at least hopefully sometime this weekend. Computer, I have a Discord server. I'm just getting this very YouTube chat is done. Okay. Here informed. Honestly, you can use Discord. So I'm going to be answering questions. We are live. Hi hit. Live stream the sound so that I can't hear. And from that always trips me up. This version, so someone asked me. Anyway, all right. I'm just going to do that to be. No, at least hopefully sometime this weekend. Computer, I have a Discord server. I'm just getting this very YouTube chat is done. Okay. Here informed. Honestly, you can use Discord. So I'm going to be answering questions. We are live. Hi hit. Live stream the sound so that I can't hear. And from that always trips me up. This version, so someone asked me. Anyway, all right. I'm just going to do that to be. No, at least hopefully sometime this weekend. Computer, I have a Discord server. I'm just getting this very YouTube chat is done. Okay. Here informed. Honestly, you can use Discord. So I'm going to be answering questions. We are live. Hi hit. Live. My desktop audio off. Maybe that was the issue. That was why. I have the live stream playing in a tab over here, which is probably why. Oh, did I just shut it off? I hope I didn't just turn it off. Oh my god. Oh no. Content? No, where'd it go? Oh no. Hold on. Says I'm still streaming on here. Okay. Alright, many technical difficulties. It looks like it's still working. Okay, sorry about that. This is the first time I've done a live stream on YouTube, so it's I'm still trying to get used to it. I've done stuff on Discord, but I'm still getting used to the whole YouTube thing. Okay, so now that we're back, hopefully, I'm gonna open a new window here. Now, a lot of some of you might not have known this. I'll answer questions at the end. By the way, no questions right now. I'll get to answering questions at the end. Right now, I just want to kind of get through everything and show you all the features, what's been added, what's going on with some other features, and how to use it. So this is like the first reveal, I guess. Not really a reveal, it's always been there. I'll show you. So if we go to GitHub, and if we go to blend my NFTs, I'm a much faster typer on my MacBook. I'm not used to the clackety keyboards yet. All right, so this is Blend My NFTs. This is the GitHub page where you can find the code. Nothing new here. The last commit was yesterday, and I think I just updated the README file. But the last major commit was last month, 12 days ago. So it's been a while, and a lot of people are wondering what I've been up to. If we go to the branches, you'll notice that there are two branches. We click on that, and we see, oh look, there's a main branch, updated yesterday, which is the README file. And then there's a minor upgrade, TS. Let's click on that and see what's there. It's like, wow, okay, so there's a lot of stuff that's missing, a lot of stuff that's changed. But if you click on this main folder, all of the main .py files are there. All of the README is here, but it's a much more condensed version. But this branch is the UI branch, the UI edition branch. So I've made it on a separate branch, and then I'm gonna merge it into the main branch sometime this weekend. Maybe we'll see. I haven't really decided yet. There are just a couple things that I need to fix before I'm confident to release it onto the main branch. So just sort of like a quality control, I guess. So let me walk you through just first the README file. It's not finished yet. It will be finished sometime this weekend when the main branch is merged with this UI branch. A lot of the stuff is the same in the beginning. You got the links, the case study stuff, quick disclaimer here. And then we get the installation and setup. So the setup and the installation of Blend My NFTs is going to be changed a lot. You no longer have to unzip the file. You can install it directly to Blender as an add-on. And if you don't know how to do that, there's an entire step-by-step tutorial here showing you pictures and stuff how to do it. And yeah, the important terminology section is also has been rewritten. I just wanted to make a couple points a little more clear, just to help people understand how the software works. Obviously this is very short, it's not finished yet. The section about how to use it still needs to be made. I just threw this together yesterday. But yeah, okay, so a lot of people probably want to see the add-on itself. So let's download this. We'll clone the repository here. So we have a zip file. Let's open this here. We have this in this folder here. I'm going to open up the Cozy Robot example file. Now this is a .blend file that's provided in the original Blend My NFTs main branch. You can find it right here. So just download this repository here, and you can get this Blend My NFTs file if you want to follow along. I'm going to be doing this live, so hopefully it all works. I tested it before and it worked on the live stream, so we'll see what happens. All right, let's exit. I think I can exit out of that safely. So we have this Blender file. We have the Blend My NFTs, a minor upgrade branch. Let's open, we're not even going to touch this. Let's open the Cozy Robot example file. All right, oh, those are spoilers. Spoilers. Forgot to disable it before the stream. Hold on. Let's remove this. And Men in Black style, you forget everything you saw there. Okay, so there's nothing here, obviously. All right, so we're on the blend file. Pretend none of that happened. We're gonna go and install the Blend My NFTs add-on that we just downloaded. So to do that, we're gonna go here to Edit. We're gonna go Preferences, and then we're gonna click Install. When we click Install, we're gonna navigate to whatever directory that zip file was downloaded to. So if it's your downloads folder or your desktop, you wanna navigate in this Blender file view to that directory, and just select the zip file. You don't have to unzip it, anything, just keep it exactly how it was downloaded. So after that, you guessed it, you click Install. Perfect. All right, and now if we search here in this Blender add-ons tab in the Blender preferences, we'll see that we have this new Blend My NFTs add-on. I have it in the development category. I don't think the categories really do anything important. It's just a way of sorting the add-ons, so I've kind of left it there. I might change that. Little things though, it doesn't really matter. And let's go ahead and enable it. So let's click this checkbox, and it's now enabled. And if you notice over here, this is what you'd find when you open the Blender file. So let's press N, and this will open up this sidebar here. In the sidebar, we have different categories. So we have the item, we have the tools, the tool, we have the view tab, and then we have Blend My NFTs. And so we have all these drop-down menus here. And each of these drop-down menus are basically steps that you have to take to make your NFT collection. I kind of wanted to organize it into the 3 main steps so you don't lose track of where you are or get confused by it. Just trying to improve the workflow of making an NFT collection in Blender. So let's go ahead and we'll see what we have here. So we have a bunch of stuff. There's lots of stuff to cover. I'm very excited about this. This first tab, I'll close these just to concentrate on the tab at hand here. So let's actually open this out a little so we can see it better. Close that. This first tab is the Create NFT Data. So Blend My NFTs needs a record of your Blender file in order to generate the NFTs. And if you want a long, complicated explanation of how this works, check out the previous live streams on the YouTube channel. There's tons of detailed explanations about how the DNA generator.py file works and grabs the Blender collections and objects from the scene and then creates NFT DNA from it. But for now, let's just call it magic. So magically, we have to tell Blend My NFTs what's in this scene collection right here. And you can go through this .blend file and check it out for yourself, but it's a pretty simple structure. These main collections up here are your attributes. And inside these attributes, we have these sub-collections called variants. And each of these variants are the different types of things about your NFT. So they're the hat. A lot of people like the hat analogy, where you have a hat attribute. So pretend this is, or the body attribute, whatever you want to call it. And then you have different types of bodies here. So you can have the white body and the gold body. That's all good, but then we also want different stuff. So this might be hard to see, but the light here, we have different colored lights as well. Didn't show very well. So we got the blue light, and then the red light, and then the green light. So that's the idea of it. And then every object, mesh, light, or whatever fluid simulation, fancy Blender terms. I don't know. I'm not very familiar with Blender objects, but everything that makes up that variant would go in this collection here. All right, so I've talked a bit about the scene collection, talked a bit about why Blend My NFTs needs to I'll talk a bit about why Blend My NFTs needs to understand the scene collection and what Create NFT Data does. Now let's just go through the process here. So let's set a name for our NFT first of all, robot. This name will be present on the metadata that you make later on, and the image files or the model or the animation files that you make. So think hard about it. You can always change it later with a simple script that goes through each of the files. But yeah, a number will be appended onto the end of this name to differentiate each file so that they don't get written over when they're generated. So just be aware of that. Let's set the NFT collection size to 4 for now, because we just want to do a simple collection here. And this number, this NFT collection, needs to be less than this counter here. So this maximum number of NFTs. So we have it set to 134. There's a bit of an offset there between the maximum number of combinations and the true maximum number of combinations, and that's to do with the method where the DNA is randomly selected and randomly generated. There isn't really a good way around it. There is, but it's very convoluted, and there's a lot of layers of algorithms that you have to put in place. So it's not very elegant, but just keeping it under this number right here is recommended. You can have it more. Obviously, you can set this to infinity, but the Blend My NFTs will only be able to generate this this amount of NFTs, or somewhere close to that. It's not a guarantee. So it's recommended that you have a lot of variance so that you have a much larger number, a much larger collection, combinations of NFTs to pull from for your collection. That's a run-on sentence. Anyway, so with that said, keep this NFT collection size lower than maximum number of NFTs by lot. All right, that's cool. We understand that. So this will be the number of NFTs that we generate. Now, NFTs per batch. Now, a batch takes this number up here, this NFT collection size, and splits it into separate components so that you can generate NFTs, render them, or make models on separate computers or at different time intervals. So if it's more convenient for you to render at night while you're sleeping, you can just set batch 1 to render, and then it generates all those images, and then set batch 2 to render, and then it generates all those images the next day or on a separate computer. There will be tutorials on how to do this in the future. Right now we'll just go over how to do batch by batch, but I'm planning on doing a YouTube tutorial where you do actually, where I do actually go through and show you how to transfer batches to separate computers and render them sequentially, basically at the same time. Right now, let's just set it to 2. Just keep it simple. All right. Here you'll see that there's a save path string input here. So let's click this button and let's navigate to that folder where we have where we want to save. So we're finding the directory that we want to save not only our data but the NFT files themselves. So whatever images you're generating, the 3D models and the animations will all go into this folder, into this directory that we're selecting right now. And so I've found it. It's in my D drive, desktop, torrent, and then new folder. Let's go ahead and click accept. It'll find this folder. We're going to enable rarity for this one just because we have rarity values here. Just this 60, 40, 33.3%. I think I forgot to talk about those. So rarity is, just think of it as the chance that one of these attributes will get selected, and it's determined by a percentage. So there's a lot of information about this on the README file and in our Discord FAQ channel. I think I got that right. But yeah, just think of it as a percentage that adds up to 100. There are asterisks on that. It can be whatever you want, but just to make it simple, make these numbers add up to 100. So here in this eyes attribute collection, we have 2 variants, and the rarity percentages add up to 100%. So eyes 1 will be selected 60% of the time, about 60% of the time. It's not exact. It mathematically can't be. And then eyes 2 will be selected 40% of the time, or about there. And the same goes for 33.4, 33.3, 3, 1%, 99%, etc. So that's what will happen if we check enable rarity. If we don't select enable rarity, it will just be chosen at random. So there will be a 50-50 chance you'll get I1 and I2. There will be a 33, yeah, well, I guess it's 33.3 anyway, percent chance that you'll get face expressions, and a 50% chance you'll get 1 or 2 fingers. So yeah, I think I explained that a little too much, but let's create our data. So let's open, we're going to open something called the Blender System Console, or Blender System Terminal, yeah, console. And you can just go to Window and then toggle System Console. This will show you, all the error messages, if there are any, or any information when you're generating your NFTs. It's a kind of important thing to have open just so you can track the progress of it. When you're running Blender's render engine with a script, Blender does this thing where it freezes up. It's nothing that I can control. It's like hard baked into Blender, into Blender's code, so there isn't an easy way around it. But anyway, having the system console open will show you the progress that you're making as you're generating your NFTs. And you'll see this in a second. So we have this open here. Let's create the data. Cool, all the stuff's disappeared, don't worry. It's still there, nothing's been destroyed. So if we go to the system console here, we'll see rarity is on, weights listed. This is all standard stuff that was in the previous version. I'm just going over it again in case you're unfamiliar with this. And it says these NFT data were saved to D drive, desktop, torrent, new folder, blend my NFTs output, NFT data, NFT JSON. So this file will have all the NFT information in it. So let's go to that directory. Open here. And in this new folder, in that directory we selected, there's this new folder called Blend My NFTs Output. And as the name implies, this is the output for your collection. So let's open it up here and see what we have. So we have two folders within a folder. One's called Generated NFT Batches. If we click on that, empty, nothing in there yet. All right, that's fine. If we go to NFT Data, we have another folder and this file called NFT Record. I won't get into NFT Record and how DNA works, because that's a 2-hour-long tangent about for loops and Python methods. Very complicated. Not complicated, just it takes a long time to explain. But this is important. Think of this as important information that Blend My NFTs needs to understand your .blend file to create NFTs. Let's go to this batch data folder, and we also have more JSON files, which is perfectly cool. So that worked. It worked. Yay! Very happy about that. All right, let's go back to Blender and do the rest of this. So right now we've created the data. Let's move on to step number 3, and we'll generate our NFTs. So I already have all this selected here, but for you it will look like this when you first boot it up. You can select what NFTs you want to generate, what kind of files. So if you want to create images, animations, and 3D models, all these drop downs will show up. So you can select the format that you want to generate those files as. So for images, let's just keep it simple. We'll do PNGs. For animation file formats, we'll do MP4s. A lot of people have excuse me. A lot of people have been asking recently about MP4s, so I managed to get that in. Someone in our Discord server helped a lot with it. I can't remember. I'm trying to remember their tag, but they helped out. It's in an announcement somewhere in the Blend My NFTs announcement channel. But anyway, MP4s are now available. So you can also do .mkv, .avi, RAW, or .avi JPEG. I'm not very familiar with those two or how they work. 3D models, there's a lot more now. We have .jlb, of course. We also have .jltf plus bin plus textures. This will export .jltf files and the texture files separately. And then we also have the combined JLTF files. So these are combined textures and 3D models. I don't know what that means. I saw it on the Blender API documentation and thought it'd be something to add to it. Just more things so that I don't get bugged about it in the future. So that's available if you guys want to do that. I have no idea how it works, but that's cool. .fbx, as always, .obj. These have been fixed. In the past, when you exported a .fbx and a .obj, the files would export separately as, I can't remember what formats, but they were like binary and TXT something. Maybe I'm making that up, but they were exported as separate files. They weren't exported as .fbx and .obj. But now they will export as the extensions .fbx and .jbl or .obj. So yeah, that's been fixed. So FBX and OBJ now work. Yay. X3D is still available. I haven't really heard any complaints about that, so I'm assuming that still works. And I've added .stl. STL I've used a lot for 3D printing and slicer software. Slicer software is used by 3D printers so that you slice your 3D model in layers so that the 3D printer understands how to print it. I don't know how it works. It's complicated algorithms that I don't want to wrap my head around, but STL files are now available, so if you guys need that, that's good. .vox, it's there. I don't know if it'll work. I haven't tried it. I haven't been able to get the magic Vox something. So there's a software called Magic Voxelizer, Vox, something like that, where you can open .vox files. .vox files, or voxel file format, are very exotic. Not a lot of programs support them. Blender doesn't even support them. The reason why this add-on includes .vox files is because you need to install another add-on called, I have it there, called Vox Writer, and the link is there on screen. It's on GitHub. I'm going to link this in the GitHub tutorial when I've finished that README file. But it's there. I don't think it works quite right because the add-on doesn't specify a certain Python method that I need, but the functionality is there. So use at your own risk. It's still experimental, but it's available. I'll come back to it in the future. Right now, let's do OBJ just to do it. So we have our formats selected here. I've talked a lot about those. Let's generate the first batch. So if we go back to that directory and go to NFT data, batch data, we see we have two batches. So we can generate these NFTs separately from one another, like I talked about previously. They're labeled batch 1 and batch 2. Here we've selected batch 1. So when we press this button, this generate NFTs button, it will generate batch 1. So let's go ahead and generate batch 1. So it's thinking, it's doing something. Hopefully it won't crash on stream here. Looks like my luck isn't too great, so it is crashing. Nothing's showing up here in the system console, so that's all good. It's happened before. Blender really doesn't like it when I live stream. It's very iffy. But we've created the data, so it's all good. Let's go back here, open the system console again. I've had to do this hundreds of times, so we're good. And let's do, I'm going to double check one thing really quickly. Okay, it's still empty, which is good. Don't have to delete any folders. And let's pretend none of that happened. We'll Men in Black zap you again and generate NFTs. Maybe, oh. Right, okay. So I do have to do that again. So let me delete this folder, this output folder. Get rid of that. Go through here. Select this robot. Gaussian size 4. Go here. New folder. Accept. Create data. That's good. And now we will generate the batch. Yes, it's working. Okay, there we go. Awesome. So you'll have better luck for sure, because you won't be live streaming when you're operating this. But because I'm live streaming, my computer's uploading 1080 by 1080, something like that, video to YouTube through another software down here called OBS, and and it's rendering images, animations, and exporting 3D models. So it's a lot to ask of my poor computer here, but it does the job. So awesome, it worked. Super exciting about that. And it says here, let's go back through this log. It says generating NFTs 1 out of 2. We can see what variants were selected. So we can see for body, we got body 1, which is awesome. And then eyes, we got eye number 1. And notice how it's the 60%, it's not the 40%, because the 40% is more rare. We have enable rarity on, which proves the point, I guess, that rarity somewhat works. It works. It's very percentage based. So it's not strict, but it works. All right. We also have new things here. So it says rendering image. So it'll tell you when it's rendering an image, when it's rendering an animation. We have a 1-frame animation here just for the sake of this live stream to keep my sanity and yours while we're going through this. But if there was more frames here, you'd see a lot more of this. You'd see like hundreds of them if you have hundreds of frames. But it tells you when you start to render an animation, which is awesome, because I'm sure you want to know if it crashed halfway through there and you have to restart. We also have generating a 3D model here, so it tells you that. It tells you all the primitives and the objects it's exporting and importing, or exporting, combining, and then yeah, I forget exactly how it works. That's awesome. It tells you how long it took to make that one in seconds, so it took 3.9590 seconds. Probably don't even need these last 4 digits there, but it's there for accuracy. And it tells you which one was completed. Should probably change that word to generated. Next time, next update. And then we get number 2. So that'll repeat for every NFT that you have generated. And then it'll tell you here all NFTs successfully generated and sent to desktop. So that's the first batch. Let's go ahead and change this and just generate the second batch really quick. We'll do that. Cross our fingers. I said cross our fingers. Looks like it's not going to work. Yeah. Alright, it's not working. It doesn't like me today. It's weird. It worked perfectly this morning when I did a test live stream. But it always fails while doing the real thing. Alright. We did render 1 batch, so that's good. So let's check out what happened there. So let's go to generated NFT batches. We'll click this. We have a new folder called batch 1. If we did generate batch 2, it would have appeared here, but Blender doesn't like me today. So let's go in here and we'll see we have an animations folder, a blend my NFTs data folder, we'll talk about that later, and an images folder and a models folder. So let's go to the images one first because that's the most boring one. We open this up. Awesome looking premium robot character. Big thanks to Kellen for making this. He did an awesome job on this example file. So that's the images. Perfect, they rendered. Wonderful. If we go to the models here, let's check this out. We'll open one of these. .jlb, and there we go. Awesome. Rendered, or not rendered, exported the models beautifully. That's the first one. We also have another one here. We can see this one's a little different. It's got some different colors. I think it's supposed to be green, but because of the lighting in this 3D viewer, it's not. Yeah, there we go. Okay, there, it's green. I honestly believe that we need a new universal 3D model file format just to unify all these softwares together. They already are in a way, but we need like I think it can be wrapped up in a nice little bow a little better. But that's a tangent and a 10-hour long video for another day. Anyway, we got the models, we got the images. That's wonderful. Now let's check out the animations here. I kind of forget what file format I decided to export these as. I think it was MP4, I don't remember. But it's a beautiful 1 frame long, 0.00 second animation. And it matches the 3D models and the images, so that's beautiful. Let me check the properties here and see. Animations, where is it? MP4. Okay, so did I export as an MP4? So if you're wondering if Blend My NFTs can export MP4, there you go, it can. This is just an example, so it just exported 1 frame. That's awesome. So we have the first batch generated. So there's 2 NFTs in there. Done. All right, let's try to open Blender again and finish the batch. Finish the batches. Ooh. I'm wondering if I can. Let me try this. We'll try. Select the save path. New folder, accept, okay. Batch number 2. I'm gonna open this just to see. There we go. It's generating, awesome. All right, it works again. Did a little flash there, but that's okay. We go to Blend My NFTs output. Generated, and there we go, we have batch number 2. So batch number 2 will look exactly like batch number 1. Animations, images, and models. Yay! All right, so that worked? Awesome. So let me just comment a bit about what this Blend My NFTs metadata folder is. This isn't any formatted metadata template. So this is just data that Blend My NFTs needs to create your Solana metadata or your Cardano metadata or Ethereum or Polygon metadata. It isn't something that you can just upload to OpenSea. This is just a data file used by the script in order to understand the NFTs that you've generated so far. So that's awesome. We understand that. We have 2 batches now. Now, you could hook up a really complicated script that goes through these and puts them into 1 folder. That makes it easier to upload. Or you could just follow this tutorial a little longer, because I've already done that and it was painful. So we have, I'm not going to open the folder, or the code folder, but so we've done step 1. We've done step 2. We have all our batches now. Let's open step 3 here. Refactor batches and create metadata. So as I said before, like I said a couple seconds ago, this will combine those batches into 1 neat folder where all your animations, your Blender file, your image files, and your 3D models and Blend My NFTs metadata will all be in one folder. So just to point some things out here, we have robot 1, robot 2 in batch number 1, and then in batch number 2 we also have robot 1 and robot 2. So that's a problem, because we need to properly number the NFTs when we upload them. So let's go ahead and refactor batches. So this will refactor the batches so that they're all in one folder, and it will create our Cardano metadata, our Solana metadata, and our ERC 721 metadata. ERC 1155 for Polygon, I will consider and look into adding. I'm having a really hard time finding decent documentation about how to format the metadata properly. There's tons of it out there for Cardano, Solana, and ERC. They're great sources. I cannot find one for ERC1155. So if you guys do know of a documentation that lists out the format of the NFT JSON files that need to be uploaded to Polygon to mint NFTs, let me know. At me, ping me in the channels, suggested channels in our Discord. I'll gladly go through and add it in the metadata.py file, so it'll appear here. But right now I'm struggling to find sources for that, so we'll see. Anyway, we have all these selected here. So these are checkboxes, so you can turn them on. You can generate metadata for all 3 of these and upload your NFTs to all 3 blockchains if you want, as you'll see in a second. So let's click this button here and see what happens. Whoops, we got a are you sure dialog box, because after you go past this point and you refactor your batches, you can't do this, you can't go back. So you refactor your batches and that's it. You can't go back to a batch system. And that's important because if you have batches that you're still working on and you refactor your batches by accident, you'll have to manually convert them back to the batch format that you saw earlier, and it's very painful. So I might find a way around that in the future. This works right now, so I don't want to mess around with it. But yeah, that's how it works. So are you sure? Refactor your batches. This action cannot be undone. So just keep that in mind when you're refactoring your batches. Let's click yes. A little thing down here, metadata created. Awesome. Let's see what happened. So if you notice, I forget what it was called before, but it was called generated NFTs. The generated NFTs folder is now called complete collection. This is really cool. So let's open this up. We have a lot more directories here now. So let's see what's in here. So we have our animations folder. That's cool. And look at that. Robot 1, Robot 2, and then Robot 3 and Robot 4. So they've been renumbered and organized for our entire collection of robots, which is great. If we go here to images, we also have Robot 1, Robot 2, Robot 3, Robot 4. So those were renumbered as well. And the same thing with the models, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the same thing with Blend My NFTs data. But we have these 3 other folders here: Cardano metadata, ERC721 metadata, and Solana metadata, and Blend My NFTs metadata. I won't get into that. You can look into that on past live streams. I think I explained it somewhere, and in this live stream, sort of. I touched on it lightly, but let's open up the Cardano metadata first. Let's see what's in here. And this software is called Visual Studio Code. It's a free open source integrated developer environment. Fancy word for software where you can code stuff. It's a lot more complicated than that, but just it's a software where you can code stuff. And it's got some cool features that make it easy to code. I recommend this Visual Studio Code for beginners. It's like a really good software. It's well optimized for tons of different languages. But this is it. This is the Cardano data. 721 is a standard. We have a placeholder for the policy ID here. We got the name again, the image. This is where the ID will go. The link will go once you've uploaded your NFTs. Media type, description, and then we have these attributes here. The reason why these are the same here, the attribute names are the same as the variant names, is because in this collection here, they're the exact same. So body attribute is the same name as body, and body 2. That was done a long time ago before we removed the numbers. It's just what's it called? Legacy thing being brought over to the new thing. So don't worry about it. If you name these like RGB colored body 1, gold body 2, it will show up here as gold body or RGB body here. So just to explain that. But yeah, we have all our attributes here. I've actually used this this metadata format for this cozy place, our NFT collection. So this works, I can guarantee it. And yeah, so that's the Cardano metadata. I want to talk a bit about two things: the policy ID and the image thing right here. So this key, this is a JSON array, and arrays have keys and data. That's just a bit of programming knowledge, but this key refers to a link. So when you upload this JSON file to your Candy machine or whatever website you're using to mint your NFTs, if you're using an API service of some kind to mint your NFTs automatically, that link is where you will put your image link. And what that means is you will upload these files. So you will upload your animations, your images, or your 3D models to a pinning service or a file storing solution. So the most common file storing solutions out there for NFTs that are used are IPFS, Airweave, Filecoin, I think. I'm not too sure about that one. And there's one other one. I can't remember what the last one was. But IPFS and Airweave are the two biggest ones. So when you upload these images and these models to IPFS, you will be given a link to those NFTs. And this field right here, this key and this data, is where you'll put that link. You'll then upload this JSON file to a Candy machine or a minting machine, and it will actually mint the NFT tokens on whatever blockchain you're using. That token, after you've minted your NFTs, it will generate a token or token ID, and that will go here. I think I might have that wrong, but that's where that goes. A lot of people have asked about why there isn't image URL there, why there isn't a token ID. The reason is Blend My NFTs doesn't do that. All this software does is generate your images and generate your models and animations and templates for your JSON metadata formats. You need to upload your NFTs to a service like IPFS and then upload those completed metadata files to a Candy machine. If you don't know what a Candy machine is, there's lots of stuff out there. Hashlips has a lot of tutorials. Hashlips is another YouTube channel. They do a very similar thing that we're doing, but for 2D art. And he has a lot of tutorials on how to do that. So I'd recommend looking at a lot of those tutorials to understand more about what I'm talking about here. But just know that these metadata files right here are just templates for you. They're just they're missing parts that you have to fill in. This is the ERC 721 data right here. Yeah, I've only been able to test the Cardano metadata. I haven't been able to test the ERC 721 or the Solana metadata, but from what I've heard from a lot of people in the community, it works. We've had an NFT collection that used Solana metadata, so I know for sure that works. And you can see what that looks like here. It's a lot bigger, a lot more data here to fill in. So that's awesome. And yeah, I'm trying to think about what more I can talk about. Oh yeah, there's two things. After these two things, I will get into the Q&A. Two things: materials and I forget what I was calling it. Materials and logic, or rules. So if you've seen the GitHub and if you've looked at the config file, you will notice, hold on, I can't type. You will notice there is a thing called material generator. I'm just trying to find the proper terms here. Enable generation, I think. Generation type, that's it. RGBA color list, material list, color list, and I think that's it. So that's awesome. So that's the material randomizer. And what that does is takes materials in Blender, and I'm gonna get this wrong. Devlin, I think this is it. I need help from Devlin. He's our 3D designer. He knows more about Blender than I do, but it's here somewhere. And this material generator in the now legacy version of Blend My NFTs randomizes the colors or the material of certain objects. A community member has submitted a reformatted, like upgraded version of this. Oh wait, no, never mind. I'm getting confused. I am going to go through and reformat and upgrade this mechanism to work with this new this new UI system. It'll take a little bit of time. I estimate a couple weeks, maybe less, depending on how quickly things go. I'm close, not quite close, but there. I know what to do. But the approach still needs to be laid out and organized before I create the material generator for this new system. That also means that rarity and weights for materials will be put on hold for a little bit until I understand how that material system will work. There's this thing called a Blender. I'll show you on Blender actually. It's called a UI list, and it's actually this thing here, this little panel where you can add these things here and create new UIs. Basically, I won't get too much into it, but it will look like this. It will look like the material list right here. I don't know the proper terminology, but it's called, at least on the Blender Python side of things, it's called a UI list. So when you create materials or colors that you want to randomize, you'll have the ability to enable rarity for those materials. And it will look like this material selector generator thing. Yeah, that's it for materials. A lot of thinking about it still has to go onto writing and onto boy, I'm losing my train of thought. It still needs to be planned out. That's what I'm trying to say. It still needs to be planned out. It's in the works. I do have a plan for it. It's in my head. I haven't made any tests yet, so I think I've talked too much about that. Anyway, logic and rules is another big thing that a lot of people have talked about. And to explain what that is, I'll just do a little simple demonstration here. Let's say light number 1, this is green light. So this green light up here cannot, it somehow interferes, let's imagine it interferes with hands, fingers, I'm trying to find one. Okay, so these, the black fingers here, the textures here, interfere somehow with this green light. So we cannot have those be together in the same NFT ever. Like, let's just picture that. Awesome, super cool. We don't want that. So that combination we don't need. Logic and rules, I'll just call it logic from now on, will be a new feature that will be implemented that will take out those bad combinations that you don't want. I have an approach for this written down in code. We did this for a client. I'm now going to figure out how to simplify those rules into plug and play blocks, code blocks, sort of like Scratch, if you've ever heard of that programming language. And a member of our community also created a pull request and has DNA rules, logic. I'm just going to call it logic. But yeah, so I commented here, I'll implement this after the UI edition. Yeah, and it will have a similar UI as the materials, which is good because it'll just be like almost copy and paste with a little bit of changes. I think that's it. Yeah, it'll be easy to use. It'll be very similar to how he has it implemented here. I'm probably going to use a lot of the code that he's implemented here. And you'll create a list somehow. I don't want to get too into the details because it'll change a lot in the future. But this code will be vital in creating those rules, those logic, that logic UI. So look forward to that month something. I don't know when the timeline is for these things. I can't promise. I got a lot of stuff to do, but it'll get there eventually. All right, I think that's it. Yeah. All right, I'm pretty confident in leaving the tutorial part there. I'm gonna leave this stuff open because I'm gonna switch over to Q&A mode. Let me get some things set up. I haven't looked at the chat, by the way, so if everyone's asked questions, I haven't been able to see anything. Okay, I'm still in frame, that's good. I haven't wandered off. All right. Can I use blend my NFTs in the cloud? Yes, you can. We've done this with a service called Vagon. They're a virtual machine service. I can't remember the URL for their website. VAGON, I think. VM service. You basically boot up a virtual machine that's got like stupid amounts of GPU and CPU and RAM, and then you can set up exactly how I showed it to you here and run it right on their virtual machine, and it'll do this like 100,000 times faster than my PC here. But yeah. Someone asked, is there a script we can run to update the entire collection with missing info all at once? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Could you elaborate? If you run the create NFT data script again, you'll get randomized data. It won't be the same NFTs as it was the first time you ran it. Just that's the nature of the code. It can't do that. But yeah. Okay, so another person asked, is it possible to render multiple batches one after another automatically instead of changing the number under the render batch variable over and over for every batch? So before you do that, I want to the preferred method is just to set the number of NFTs per batch to the number of NFTs in your collection size. So there will only be one batch, and then you just have to render that one batch. Yeah, that's what I'd recommend you do, instead of create a script that runs those batches repeatedly. It's just easier. You don't have to add any more code. So it'll just be one batch, and you just press render once, and all your NFTs are there, which is perfect. The point of the batches is if you're dealing with a really large collection, like 10,000 NFTs, and you need to render those on 3 computers, like we did for this cozy place, our NFT collection. But yeah, if you have a really powerful computer that can just knock out 10,000 images in like half a second, then go for it. Just do one batch with all the NFTs in it, and yeah. Okay, so someone asked, how can I add IPFS URL into all ERC 721 files? So this is done using, you can do it two ways. You can use a service like Pinata, Pinata. They will upload your images to IPFS and give you the link after the link to those images. I'm not sure how the system works, but whenever you get those links, you can insert them into the JSON files with a Python script using API requests. We did this with NFT Maker Pro, I think. A lot of the systems for NFT Maker Pro, which is an API service, it's very automated. It's really, really good. They have a lot of pre-built stuff that you don't even have to worry about. I recommend using their service. It's a bit tricky getting the scripts to upload, but yeah, you can find really good APIs out there that do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. But if you're creating an NFT collection, learn how to code. If it's Python, JavaScript, whatever it is, learn how to code, because you'll have to know how to do a lot of this stuff. Unless there's like some magical miracle software out there that does it all. But yeah, you'll need to run a script that requests from an API service, calls back a list of links from the NFT images you've uploaded, and then insert them into the JSON files. There's plenty of examples of how to open and close JSON files within the code on the GitHub page. Just look for import JSON in the top of the file, and then there will be tons of examples in there. Yeah. After I make a 10,000 collection of my 2D gorillas, could I take the trait data of the ones generated and output the 3D models based on those traits after I model all the traits, of course? You could make a shell. So you can make a shell where it's just empty collections here, and name all the traits that you want. You can create the data. You can get to that point for your entire NFT collection, and then populate it with 3D models. You won't be able to generate the metadata because that requires a combined batch and the 3D model image files or whatever you're using. But yeah, that's how you approach it, I guess. Let me check Discord really quick. Let's see if there are questions there. Is this starting soon? Yes, the live stream started an hour and a half ago, a bit. There's an echo loop on the stream. Yes, there was. I fixed it, I think. I haven't checked the video in a little bit. Can I use blend my NFTs in the cloud? Yes, I answered that. Any tutorial for that soon? I'm not sure what that's referring to. There will be a very polished tutorial coming out this weekend, along with the merge of Blend My NFTs UI edition. So stay tuned for that. There will be an announcement for that. And it'll go step by step through everything I just showed you here. It'll be a lot more scripted, so there won't be technical difficulties halfway through and at the beginning of the video, so that will be cool. But yeah, I'm just going to pop back over to the YouTube chat. Can you go over linking material library to variants, or maybe a future tutorial? I can be honest, I don't know enough about Blender to feel comfortable doing that. I'm probably going to get my brother, our 3D designer, to do that. He knows a lot more about Blender than I do. Before I implement any features, I really like to know exactly how it works. So for example, I had no idea how to export animations or 3D models. I only figured out how to export images in the beginning, and then slowly over time, as I researched the Blender API and how to use those those calls, did I implement animations and 3D models? It's just how I work. I feel more comfortable. I feel like I can make better code if I understand how the Blender features work beforehand, so that I don't mess stuff up in the long run, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I'll definitely look into that. I've had a couple people ask for the material library, so I'll look into that in the future. I don't know when. I won't make any promises, but I'll keep that in mind. Awesome. Can I make a collection with 2 different Blender projects? Yes. Yes, you can. You can make, like, let's say you can make, you make body in one NFT collection, or in one .blend file, and light in another .blend file. You can combine them like you see here. If your question was, can I make one collection with 2 separate NFTs? Yes. There's a hesitation there because I haven't done it before or even thought about it. But yeah, you can do it using batches. You will have to like run some tests to see how it will work, because I don't know. I can't guarantee if it'll work, but I'll say it will, but skeptically. It might work. You might run into some issues with compatibility of the metadata between the different NFT collections when you combine them, but you could probably get away with renaming, like let's say you have 2 batches. Oh, I refactored them already. Never mind. Let's say you have batch 1 and batch 2, and then batch 1 and batch 2 for the separate NFT collection. You would put those in the generated NFT folder, rename them to batch 1, 2, 3, 4, and then refactor them. That's the process I would do. I don't know if it would work. It might, but yeah, that's an experimental approach to it. So it might work. I don't know. Yeah, no problem. Awesome. Is there a time frame for the logic integration? Thanks for all your hard work you've done so far. Can't think of enough. Yeah, so I'm just gathering the thoughts. I'm going to grab some water as well. It's been an hour and a half since I grabbed some water. Yes, so the time frame, what I'm thinking the time frame will be, is this next week. I'm going to work on the material randomizer rarity thing with that UI list I showed you. That will hopefully be released by the end of the week. Maybe. I'm not making promises. There could be a very big complication that comes up that I've never come across. A big complication. I always say there's going to be a big roadblock. There never is. I always find a way around it. I just like to be safe and say that there will be. But if everything goes well, by the end of the week, maybe, and then the next week, logic and rules will be made. If everything goes really well, I'm hoping it does, materials will be done by Wednesday, and logic will be done by Friday. Again, I'm not making promises, but that's probably when it will be done by. Maybe. I'm being very vague with my dates because I don't like making promises on when work will be done for this project, because yeah, I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, that's when that will be done by. A week or 2, give or take. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Do you need the image attribute in the JSON file if I upload directly to OpenSea? Image attribute in the JSON file. I'm not sure exactly how OpenSea's API works. I'm going to assume you're using their API system. And if you guys don't know what an API is, it stands for Application Programming Interface. So it's a way to control any program, a web app or an app on your desktop here like Minecraft or Blender or Fusion 360 with code. And that's all what Blend My NFTs is. So Oliver asked, do I need image attribute in the JSON file if I upload directly to OpenSea? I can say yes. I don't know how their API works, but you do need to upload your NFT files somewhere. I don't recommend this at all, but Google Drive is a way you can do it. I've seen people do it. It pains me very deeply that people upload NFTs to Google Drive. Don't do that. Please don't do that. That's just a horrible thing to do. Use a decentralized system like IPFS or Airweave or some file storing system that will last at least more than a year. Anyway, but yes, you do need to upload your NFTs to some site and get a link to that site and then insert it into that image field. Yeah. I think, unless OpenSea has some built-in image uploader and storage system, then yeah, you will have to fill that in yourself. I came in late. Will this be up later for me to reference? I think so, yes. I don't know how YouTube live streams work. From what I've seen, watching years of YouTube, I believe it will upload to the channel. If it doesn't, I'll figure it out, hopefully. But everything will be summarized in a really nicely polished tutorial this weekend sometime, or Monday. I don't know when it's going to drop, but yeah, awesome. Faizan Malik, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Faizan Malik asked, is it possible to have a certain amount of our NFTs have a certain attribute that the rest don't? Yes, but not yet. It's coming. That will be possible with the rules and the logic update in the next week or two, like I talked about previously. But yeah, it is possible. Just not right now. If you want to look at some experimental code, I think I closed it here. Not Guelph. We don't talk about Guelph. Put my bottle down. Hold on. If we go here, if you want to look at some experimental code to try that out, go to this. Go to Blend My NFTs, go to pull requests, and go to this DNA rules right here, and check the code that's in here. Check this out. I haven't reviewed that code, so I don't know if it'll work. I'm sure it does, but it's not fully integrated yet into the main branch. Yeah. Okay. I'm just reading the questions, so I gotta focus. A bit more patches. Okay. Yes. So batches. So Patrick B asked, "Hey, can you explain a bit more about batches utility? As you said that your team rendered the collection with 3 PCs." Like the PCs won't generate same NFTs since they are not connected despite batch. Thanks. So you're asking, how do the batches not contain the same NFT DNA? Which means how do you keep the the NFTs unique whilst generating them on separate computers? That's a perfectly good question. I asked that immediately at the beginning because I knew we didn't have enough processing power on our computers. So there are 2 phases. Phase 1, you create, the script creates an NFT record, a file called nftrecord.json. You can see that file here, right here. This is the ledger. So this has every NFT for that 4 that we specified right there, somewhere there. So this has all 4 NFTs. So that's our main collection. We said 2 NFTs per batch. So let's go back here. We have 4 in here. So that's what's generated for the first time. We get the NFT record. A little script called batch sorter splits that NFT record in 2, or in however many you specify. So it generates 2 batches. So they're exact copies of this NFT record, except the number of NFTs is reduced to whatever you specify here in the NFTs per batch. And then each of these batches are created. And so if you come in here, let's go to batch 1, we'll open batch 1. You will see that there are 2 NFT DNAs here. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. And if we go here, we can see that those 2 are in fact there. Or there. So when those batches are made, one of these DNA is randomly selected, deleted from the NFT record, or no, sorry, misspoke there. One of these DNA is selected and then sent to batch 1. It is then removed from a list that is called by this program. It takes this and creates a variable in Python called a list. It takes one of these from the list, moves it to batch 1. It takes another one from the list, moves it to batch 2, or sorry, moves it to batch 1 again. And then we get batch 2 that's created. Because there are only 2 NFTs per batch, once it hits that limit, it'll create another batch and send the rest of the DNA one by one to that batch number 2. So because we have 2 files, we have the main ledger and then the separate batches that are sort of like feeding into those batches. We don't get any duplication because it's pulling from the same pool. I'm trying to think of a good analogy for this because it's very technical the way I'm describing it right now. I can't think of anything. Any good analogy? I don't know what would be a good analogy, but yeah, that's how it will work. And then that's how each batch stays unique across, or that's how all NFTs stay unique across each batch. I gotta find a good analogy for that. It's killing me right now. So how would we would send? We would generate them on different computers. We would take these batch files, these batch JSON files. We'd take number 1, for example, and send it to a computer with the exact same setup, with the same Blender file, and then run with the same NFT record and the same batch file. And then we would send, like, say, computer 1 has batch 1, computer 2 has batch 2, and then they generate separate batches. And then when those batches are completed, we can come into the generated NFTs folder and move those batches onto one computer, and then refactor the batches so that they're one whole, completed, happy NFT collection family. I hope that answered your question. That was a very long explanation. I guess I can get into the code of it if you want. It'll take a long time to explain that, but I think there's a tutorial on the channel somewhere that explains how batches work, or not a tutorial, live stream that I explained it more in detail and more about the code. But yeah, okay, awesome. Can we still remove rarity numbers from the attribute names once complete collection file is created? Yes, in fact. in fact, I've actually changed it so that these numbers are removed the second you generate your NFTs, or the second you refactor the batches. So if you notice, there isn't a button that says remove numbers. Let's go back. Oops, I'm downloading a bunch of games. If we go back here and go to the Cardano metadata, open this. I think I already have this open, but whatever. The numbers for those attributes, the numbers for those variants are removed automatically. So you no longer have to check a box. It's just by default, it removes the numbers. Awesome. All right, I'm gonna check here. No more questions. I think that's it. Does anyone have any more questions? Been going for a while. All right. I think that's it. If you guys have any more questions, oh, we got a few. Yes, the description. There, someone asked, will Blend My NFTs have a feature to change the description, or is there an easy way to make them? Yes. So, Blend My NFTs Legacy now does have a feature where you can set a description. I forget what the term is. Where you remove a feature but then replace it with something better. Deprecated. I deprecated that feature in the UI edition just to get the groundwork done on the bed. I got the bedrock set, so we can now build more features from it. Description is probably going to be something I add tonight, honestly. But I've also had an idea the past few days where you'll be able to add extra things like numbers or descriptions, links to your YouTube channels and websites and Twitter accounts or stuff like that. Like you can add that as attribute to the metadata, and it'll appear like an attribute here. But I want to figure out how to do that dynamically with that UI list that I was talking about right here. So you just click plus, and then it'll be like, oh, what do you want to add? Like, is it a link or a text or something like that? I'll figure it out eventually, but yeah, it will be added. Don't know when, but it's planned. Yeah. Someone said just a big thank you. Thank you, Randy, for watching and using the script. Thank you to everyone who's watched this live stream and asked questions. It blows my mind how many people are not only in this live stream but in our YouTube channel and on our Discord server. There's just so many people have taken interest in this stuff. It blows me away sometimes. So yeah, thank you guys. Random Q. Alan Temps asks, random question. Do you know of a way to automate the uploading process to NFT marketplace, like OpenSea, Solana, etc.? Yes. You need to create a Python script or some script in C++ or C# or some programming language, JavaScript even. But JavaScript's weird, so Python would probably be the easiest way. Create a Python script. There are a lot of tutorials out there. A really good tutorial for learning Python. Literally, I think it's like the first one. Python free code camp tutorial. Spelled that wrong. No, I spelled it right. I think it's this one. It's 4 hours long. That's an ad for something. I'm gonna let this ad play. But this tutorial right here, it's a 4 hour long Python course. It is the same one I took, which allowed me to understand and make this add-on. But yeah, if you're looking at a systemic way to mass upload NFTs to any API or any marketplace, learn Python. It will help you not only in the future, but right now when uploading your NFTs. It's a very, very useful tutorial and skill to learn. This tutorial doesn't go over APIs, but look into the request module, Python. This will allow you to make requests to a website like OpenSea, and yes, I think that's it. Sorry, it's got a weird text here. I thought I typed something in wrong, but I forget where. I think Real Python is a really good website for learning Python. And it'll tell you how to make requests and all this stuff. I used, I don't remember where the code is. I think it's here. But when we uploaded to NFT Maker Pro, I used this script here. I built this. This is going to be made sometime, available in the future sometime. I want to integrate it with my NFTs. But yeah, this was made to upload NFTs to software called NFT Maker Pro. I'll do a tutorial on that another time, but yeah, learn how to code, learn Python. It's such a cool language. Yeah, I think I talked a lot about Python. All right, thanks for your great work. Have a good evening. You too. No problem. Thanks for the great info. No worries. Is there a better way to drop mass JPEGs onto a material, like in advanced options? I'm not sure. I think I've heard of mass JPEGs, but maybe I'll have to talk to our 3D designer about dropping mass JPEGs onto a material. I don't think that's supported. I could be completely wrong, but Devlin, if you're watching this, could you comment on that? So this add-on allows us to create collections in 3D. Yes, 3D and 2D and videos. So if you use Blender, yeah, you can generate 3D models and stuff. Yeah, so that's it. I think I'm gonna wrap this up. Oh yeah, absolutely. You can make a collection of 10,000 images or JPEGs or something like that. Yeah, the only limit that I know of is the limit of a JSON file. So, which is huge, like terabytes, I think. I don't even know. I could be making it up, but you can have it however large you want, as long as your computer can handle it, and you have the hard drive space on your disks. You'll be fine. It's free. Someone asked how much will it be. It's free. This add-on will always be free. Blend My NFTs will always be free. You can go to this link here. This will be in the description of this live stream when live stream's over. But you can come here. You can see the script code here. Click branches number 2. We'll go there, and then a minor upgrade TS. We'll go there, and this is the code, and you can just install it. I went over the tutorial throughout this whole live stream, but yeah, it's completely free. Awesome. All right. Just a quick comment and wrap up. We have a lot planned for this add-on in the future. We also have a really big project coming up that we're going to be working on that will interface with Blend My NFTs. It is an API project. So this Cozy Studio will be launching an API service where you will be able to pin your NFTs and upload them, like I talked about previously, to IPFS. And it will be, you can interface with it through Blend My NFTs. I also want to look into supporting possibly other candy machines and other services like that as well. I have no idea how half of that stuff's going to work, but I'm very confident that I can get it to interface properly. But yeah, anyway, I just thought I'd comment about that. That's in the works. I think I've talked way too much tonight, going on 2 hours now, but yeah, I think that's it. I'll answer one more question. Can I donate anywhere if I like it? We haven't set up a donation thing yet. A lot of people have asked for donations, and I'm very humbled. We're very humbled by that. But I feel very iffy about taking donations. Like, just personally, it's not offense to anyone. I don't feel comfortable taking donations. I will say that I will try to get this add-on on the Blender Marketplace. I'll put like a $5 price on it. But this add-on will always be free on GitHub for anyone to use. Yeah. All right. I think that's it. I'm gonna call it quits here. And yeah, I hope you all have had a really great night, and you've learned about the new UI. It's really exciting to me. I put a lot of work into it, spent a lot of hours trying to get stuff to work. And yeah, I hope you guys like it. That's it. Yeah, bye, I guess. I don't know what else to